Together we are but first coffee. Susie's just our host, but what matters most is we are a team. Together we are all safe here, and so are you. Among friends and mods we are safe. We talk about trauma, break down drama of life, death, happy or sad, even mad. We discuss it all here. Together we will thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Together we fight cults or fight addictions. If not with experience, with love, and we don't judge. Please understand, this is a safe place to land. Please understand, you're not alone. This is a safe place to land. Together we thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Because we are but first coffee, and Susie welcomes us all here. Together we are but first coffee, and Susie.
Hi, everybody. I drug John back on. I messaged him earlier and I said, if you can't, I think he's frozen. Isn't he pretty? I can't hear you. You are muted. There we go.
I don't want to be frozen.
Yeah, I messaged him earlier and I'm like, you can come on if you want.
I literally walked in the door 10 minutes ago from my vacation when she called me. So
yeah,
perfect
you
timing.
look rested and happy and just all the good things.
All the things, yes.
Yes.
My New York trip was a blast. It's so much fun.
Yes, I was jealous. Jealous, but you know.
Well, I got you a souvenir. You'll be getting it in the mail soon.
So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and say hi to the people that are in the chat so far. We've got a lot of lurkers, it looks like. So anyway, we will see how this one goes.
Right.
Quiet Peaceful Dance is here. Thank you for being here. Lori Driscoll. Jersey Jan is in the back, gonna star some comments. Corvette Girl is here. Hey, yeah, you're late. You're able to catch a live. Usually she comes on and is on the replay crew.
Yeah.
So John is a little bit gravelly sounding. His mic, we don't know what's going on.
Having issues.
Oh yeah. So
try to fix it as we go along here.
He's freezing again, isn't he? Yeah, he froze again.
No.
He might have to
be one of those nights, y'all. It'll be one of those nights.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real gravelly again, and you had it kind of fixed, and now it's real gravelly again.
Oh boy. All right. We'll keep fiddling with it.
Okay. Yeah, and you're frozen, just so you know.
Excellent. All the things.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started while he's messing with that. So anyway, we want to get done because Keela's going on later tonight. We want to be done before that. So anyway, so I was going to tell you, I had this whole live all planned and written up, and I've been working on memorizing it for about a week. And well, because it went alongside, it's part 2 of the one that we did last week about that psychiatric museum in Hollywood. And so they kind of went together. So I had the research done. So it was just a deal of kind of writing it up and memorizing it. But anyway, so yeah, I had it written up and working on memorizing it. And then today, while I was finishing up kind of memorizing it, I thought, I wonder if. That is the if of doom. Because I wonder if turned into, I also wonder if this, and oh, well, what about that? And what about that? So, y'all, I basically threw away the whole outline and rewrote it and literally just finished that, like, not, I don't know, about an hour and a half ago. So it's not going to be memorized, but a lot of it, the way it's written now, wouldn't have been anyway. So it's stuff that I kind of need to read. But anyway, I am going to show you some slides, but basically, I'm probably not going to read the whole thing. They're tiny on the print, but I do have my iPad here where I can read them off of it. But I'm after the show, I will for sure go and post them over on my community page because a lot of it's just boring stuff, but you might be interested in some of it. I sat, and read it repeatedly. But anyway, it's just like mission statements basically. And if y'all have ever read one of those, you know what gobbledygook they can be. So anyway, so yes, we're still on the same topic, which is actually it's the second part of the topic. So tonight we're going to talk about the commission or the Citizens Commission of Human Rights, which is the people that actually run the museum that we were talking about. So anyway, and where I was going to just tell everything, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go over. I went to their website and I just like saved a bunch of stuff that so they can just say it in their own words kind of thing. And that way you're not taking it from me. So anyway, I turn their own words on them a little bit, y'all. Turn their own words. So yeah, so last week we talked about psychiatry and industry of death. And if you haven't seen that yet, please go watch it. I think that it's important, and it doesn't matter if you watch this one and then that one. There was really no logical, like, number one, number two kind of thing. So just however you watch it is absolutely fine. And so if you did watch it, then Mark's like dropping stuff and oh, he's throwing candy at me. So anyway, as you know, that museum is ran by the Citizens Commission of Human Rights. And we also have found out that the Citizens Commission of Human Rights, or CCHR is what I'm going to call it, because that's a mouthful, y'all. They literally have zero to do with anything to do with human rights, really. And 100% to do with just the destruction of psychiatry and mental health care, including potentially life-saving medications. And, I'm not for or against medications for everything. I think that there is a place for them, and then I think that sometimes they are overdone. But they're against all of it, no matter what. And we covered a lot of that last week with all the stuff that they say that medications, like things for ADHD or that kind of thing, they believe that it causes everything from school shootings to Holocaust, all kinds of stuff. And it is just it it's Scientology, y'all. I mean, I could sit and fight for the words to explain it, but you know what? Just saying it's Scientology is probably going to be pretty much explanation enough. So, I do want to kind of start off by showing, like who's running this nonprofit and how did it start, and, that whole bit. So, way back in 1961, Professor Thomas Saz, his name is spelled like Szahz, but I actually looked it up and it is spelled like jazz, but with an S, so Saz. So anyway, he's a psychiatrist and he wrote a book called The Myth of Mental Illness. So yeah, I thought that was interesting considering his profession. But anyway, but y'all, he didn't claim that people didn't suffer. He just said that suffering didn't didn't necessarily equal disease. And he claimed that if lab work couldn't diagnose it, that it was not a medical condition. So I think he was a little bit mm, off. Anyway, he believed that diagnoses are subjective and that psychiatry just labels behaviors. He didn't think that it had anything to do with any kind of a medical issue, whether it be, something is like your hormones being off or anything. He just said that we were just giving a name to just the way people acted, which is ridiculous. I'm so glad that we live in a world now where we have gotten so much further than people like this guy, Professor Saz, right? So, he was also, to give him a little credit, he was big on personal freedom. He lived by the mantra of "Don't touch me, don't medicate me, and don't lock me up," which I can kind of see. And I'm looking at this like the medication end of it based on today's medication, which maybe is not quite fair because what we have today is literally so much better, safer, everything than they had back in the 50s and the 60s and even the 70s and beyond. We have just made amazing strides in the last several years. So, he opposed things like forced hospitalization, uh, court ordered medication, involuntary treatment, that whole kind of thing. See, Yamaha Colors, it's time for a cold beer. Well, I got a cold coffee. Does that count? Look, it's not even showing up on my screen because of my. Everybody thinks this is a beer, but it isn't. It is Starbucks cold coffee. But anyway, so that's what he believed in, and he didn't just question psychiatry. He questioned its authority over your life. And so I'll give him a little bit about that because back in the 50s, 60s, it was a little different than it is now. So anyway, from there, John's back. Inner
Hopefully.
Scientology, right? What?
I said hopefully.
That's good. Sounds good now.
Oh, all right, good.
And I'm not going to bore you with all the one wackadoodle met another wackadoodle because y'all, that's just what wackadoodles do. And what they did when they were together was pretty typical. But this Saz and the cult of Scientology did co-found the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, or CCHR. And that is who runs the museum in Hollywood. So that is how I'm combining these two things because this Citizens Commission, or CCHR, is a cover group, for Scientology. They go in and they don't let you know that it's Scientology. They don't claim that it's Scientology or anything, but it is. And so I'm going to show that tonight, and I'm going to name names, y'all. I'm going to name some names, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about these people that are running this supposed human rights organization. So I found it really interesting. And like I said, there's a whole lot of stuff that I'm going to post on the community page just because it's like I'll show it here for a minute and kind of tell you what it is. But I mean, there's like 5 pages of just a letter from the president of this thing. And I'm not nearly so interested in what she says that she stands for as what I found out later that she actually does stand for. So I'm all about the truth. You can say anything, right? She can write anything, but that doesn't make it true. So anyway, that is who runs this museum in Hollywood. It's not about human rights, and it is extremely controversial. And that's another thing that they say. They brag about how all these people have visited all these, you know, big psychiatrists and these big doctors and these, all these important people. And yeah, They visited there, but they weren't they didn't like it. They spoke out against it. So they're not lying when they say that all these people went and saw this. They're just leaving out that they were very critical of it. So anyway, one of the things that this museum does have is an extremely controversial set of 18 exhibits that have absolutely no scientific or history truth to them. They have just rewritten science and rewritten history. And I mean, other than that, yes, decades ago, mental health treatment was abusive. It was, I don't know, it was awful. And nobody is, trying to say that didn't happen. But, as in many cases, history was brutal, absolutely brutal. And thank God and science that we have progressed an awful lot since the 50s and 60s. And many of those early treatments that they kind of act like in that museum are still what's going on. Those no longer exist or have been changed so drastically that, it's they don't even really resemble each other, much anyway. It's so much better now. So I just kind of look at it as when you know better, you do better kind of a situation. I mean, usually, not so much Scientology. They seem to act like that science stopped progressing in about 1960. Of course, they also kind of act like that technology stopped progressing about 1980, but to each his own. So, the Citizens Commission of Human Rights represents itself as a mental health watchdog, B, a human rights organization, and C, as protecting patients. And that sounds great. Why wouldn't we want that? But since it was created by and is currently ran by Scientology, a human trafficking, family destroying cult, do we really believe their claims? I don't, because I wouldn't believe anything that came out of, quote unquote Scientology. So, anyway, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pop from 1961 to the present time. And I'm just going to kind of let Scientology do their own talking. And, well, I'm going to read it, but I am going to show you guys some stuff from there. And again, I've got my iPad so that I can read it because it's going to be tiny. That's just how it is.
All right. Well,
But
if you needed to pass the baton, you just let me know.
okay, I don't know if you'll even be able to see it, but maybe.
Oh, all right. We'll try.
Yeah.
Whoa. That is small.
Yeah. So this is a message from the president. I should have broke it down into way more, but I was trying to not have like 30 slides to show. So basically, it just says a message from the president, and she says most people today have difficulty understanding the destructive impact that psychiatry has on communities around the world. Far too many. The lesson is learned only after a psychiatrist has destroyed some part of their life. The destruction might come in the form of a death of their child due to long-term uses of stimulant drugs as prescribed for an invented psychiatric disorder called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It could be the loss of a loved one at the hand of a gun-toting teenager, prescribed a violence-inducing psychiatric drug, or one who has undergone death education or anger management classes, as in the case of the Columbine school massacre in 1999. Perhaps it's the death of an elderly mother or father from electric shock treatment, or an antipsychotic drug prescribed at a nursing home. It could be a child labeled mentally ill early in school, prescribed addictive or psychotropic drugs more potent than cocaine, who later becomes a hardcore street drug addict, but because he could not tell the difference between a street drug and those prescribed to him. So it goes on for several pages, which I'm not going to read all of that, but it goes on to tell you the horrors of anything that has to do with psychiatry, with the medication. It leads you to believe, and yes, they do still do electric shock treatment. But whereas it used to be done with no anesthesia and, all this stuff, it has improved dramatically. It is not painful. We actually know somebody who has a family member. She talks about it all the time, that her son-in-law has had this done and it has really helped, and that no, it's not painful, and and I'm sorry, but I truly believe in this. Yeah, I'm going to just tell you what I believe, and I don't have any science to back it up. But they don't either. They're not using it. They're abusing the science. They're twisting and turning it. But I know children that have been saved from unaliving themselves because they were put on some sort of medication for antidepressant or an anxiety disorder. I myself I myself am on an anti-anxiety medicine because without it, I don't function. I mean, I do, but there's no way that I could sit and do what it takes for me to do the research for these lives, much less to sit and do the live. I would be so crippled with anxiety that I couldn't hit go live.
Right.
And, you know, I just think that they're claiming that, lives are ruined by these drugs. Well, maybe by people that misuse them. Like you hear all the time where these kids in schools get a hold of others Ritalin and stuff, and they don't need it.
Right.
And so yes, it can have an adverse reaction to that, but that's because they don't need it. They're abusing it, just like if they were taking cocaine or something like that. And so I find it just, oh my God, I am just livid at this story alone. Just this one, whatever you call it, organization has lit a fire back under my butt about Scientology, which I have been just kind of avoiding a lot for the last few months because I'm just tired of all the infighting and the picking sides and all that bullshit. But I have now decided, screw it. I don't need to pick a side. I don't need the drama. I don't need any of that. I mean, I'm just as nosy as everybody else, and I might go watch it, but I don't need it in my personal life. But I can cover these front groups, and I have a whole list because this now has turned into not one live or two lives. I've got like 8 weeks planned already of one a week of lives, and that's not even counting if some of those turn into one or two or three in one. So I just, these people, I'm going to show you who the people are that run it. They're the ones coming up with the stuff to put on there. They're not asking for any kind of mental health professionals input on it. They're coming up with the information that is put in this museum and that they put out all over the internet and everything. And I think that is so dangerous because just like Scientology, which you will see, this is Scientology, but just, they put a pretty bow on it. So, but just like Scientology, this place has the absolute ability to cause people to lose their lives because they wouldn't seek help, because they have villainized any kind of psychiatry or mental health or medication, any of that kind of stuff. And I don't know, what do you think, John? I don't mean to just like go crazy. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
I'm muted
There you
again.
go.
Okay.
There you go.
No, I haven't really said anything because I completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's L. Ron Hubbard was famous for his disdain for psychiatry and any kind of medications or anything like that. So you know that they're going to any agency that they come up with that's supposed to
Mhm.
be helping people, of course, is going to have that slant, you know, anti-psychiatry, anti-meds, anti-everything. And
Mhm.
this is dangerous. This is really,
It
truly
is.
dangerous. People will lose their lives and probably already have
Mhm.
because of this misinformation that they're being fed. So, yeah, this is an important topic, and I'm glad that we're going to delve deeper into it because it's not right.
Yeah, and there'll be more than just tonight. I'm just trying to get the major stuff out, kind of show who's running it, and then
Hmm.
I'm gonna follow them, and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I'm gonna be like a bird dog on their ass. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be right there, and if they blink wrong, I'm gonna be doing a live on it, and it's just because I am deeply disturbed by just the whole image of what,
Yeah,
and I've been there. I've seen what's in that museum, and
right.
of course, at the time, I wasn't all into this and didn't know as much. I didn't know it was Scientology. The whole bit. But I think what I wanted to do tonight, my main focus of tonight was that I wanted to show you who's running it. And I'm not showing pictures because,
Right.
it's hard to figure out. Some of these people have very common names and
Hmm.
which one is which, but I do have this slide that I'm going to bring up that let's see here. Come on, slide. Okay, so this is the building, and this is I'm going to bring this forward too so I could see it a little bit better. Okay, so we have the board of directors is the top list. So the CCHR's leadership, and first list is their board of directors. So let me I'm trying to make sure I get all my notes because they're up there, and then I've got what I need to read off on here. Okay, so the first one it says is Isidore Chait. Okay, he's a board member. They called him Izzy. I actually recognized him whenever I looked at his picture. He's kind of famous in the art world and in a lot with the arts and with music director type, that kind of whole thing, the whole art scene. I recognized his picture. So not that I knew him, but I just recognized the picture. But anyway, so I dug into Izzy. And so he is a well-known art dealer. He's a Scientologist, an OT8, a fierce defender of the cult of Scientology. And David Miscavige personally convinced him to become an enforcer for the church. Does that in itself, just that line, just sound weird?
Yeah, that
What
screams Saul.
church needs an enforcer? You know?
Mhm.
Anyway, so there is a widely seen video of Izzy, which I had also seen this, ambushing then defector Marty Rathbun at the Los Angeles International Airport in 2011. Marty was attempting, anyway, to fly home to Texas. And in that same year, Izzy's art gallery was under federal law enforcement investigation for selling illegal items from its natural history department. And here's another little nugget that's interesting to me. This whole thing that I'm showing and everything that I'm going to put on the community page later is today, okay? All of this information is on this website today, okay?
Okay.
Izzy died in 2021, almost 6 years to the day of today, almost. within a couple of days. But they haven't updated their website in at least 6 years. But I just thought that was really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, the second one is Joyce Gaines. Okay. Scientologist. But this isn't a Scientology group at all. Right? She's what they call a whale, which means that she's one of their $1 million or more per year donors. And in 2023, which was the last year that I could find, I mean, I'm sure she still is. She's still listed as a whale. I just couldn't find how much she's given, since then. But in 23, she gave at least $7.5 million to Scientology. And I also found a little tidbit that was back. It had to do with Kirstie Alley, and I was having a hard time kind of wading through it to decipher what it was talking about in time for tonight. But according to some released emails back then, she was a participant in black propaganda, which is how they will, just come up with all these lies and everything about different people, like Aaron or somebody that's speaking out, or anybody.
Like
and
the websites
they
like to make so much.
Yeah, those websites that they like to make that's dedicated to somebody, and it just lies and makes up a bunch of crap about them. And they will, ruin your reputation in your community and everything. I mean, it's real nice people here. Anyway, she was in this story. She was quoted as saying, "My attorney," and then she said Rick Moxon, which is Kendrick Moxon, "made it very clear that this was not my idea or anything I wanted to do. It was what legally has to be done to keep the church protected out of all this." And it was talking about this black propaganda. So she's like saying, I don't want to do it, but Kendrick said that we have to do it to keep the church's name out of it. So,
So tell us you're not a Scientology organization.
Yeah.
By telling us you are one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
boy.
then there's Michael Bayback, I think. I might get some names wrong. Okay, so also a Scientologist, also a whale. Couldn't find what he had given, but at least $1 million, and apparently far more than that, because I should have wrote this other number down, but I forgot to do that. But anyway, he is big time MAGA, which I don't care, but it's just interesting. It's one of those, just file it back a little bit. He has big connections to Matt Gaetz, Pam Bondi, and Elon Musk, which makes me very nervous. Now, he was also Scientology's biggest donor for years, okay? Until he was eclipsed by Bob and Trish Duggar, who give $30-40 million, So, I mean, it's crazy. And whenever he goes to, even now, even though he's not now their biggest whale, he's a little smaller whale. But whenever he goes to events at Flag in Clearwater, he sits right next to Tom Cruise. If Tom Cruise isn't there, he sits next to John Travolta. So, he's kind of a big deal. But also interesting, he also died in May of 2022.
4 years ago.
So we've got one that died 6 years ago and one that died 4 years ago. And yet, let's not update the website. I don't know. I mean, do they think that they just drop the body and they're going to jump in another one and they're going to, just show back up like a little baby come waltzing in, being like,
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know
I'm
who's doing
so
their
sorry.
social media stuff there, but they need to get on the ball there.
Yeah, right. So, anyway, the next one is Jan Eastgate. Now, Jan is the president that I was reading off some of that stuff a while ago.
Hmm.
So, I was really interested to learn about this woman. So, yeah, definitely a Scientologist, long term, lifetime Scientologist. But get this, she was arrested in Australia. Now, I've not been able to find the court records on it to find out what happened. Clearly, she's not in jail. So, anyway, but I don't know. I couldn't even find when she was arrested. So I know it wasn't that long ago. So it could be something that hasn't happened. You know what I mean? Hadn't went to
Yeah,
court or whatever yet.
could still
So
be running through the
yeah.
system. Yeah.
So I'm still trying to find it. And if I do, I will be doing a live on her. So anyway, she got arrested in Australia, and it said for trampling all over the civil rights of a little girl who was the victim of SA. Yeah. Now, this came out not long ago, but that in 1985, she had coached a little girl named Carmen Rayner, who is by far an adult now, and that's the only reason that I give her name, because I do want to look her up and see what she's doing now.
Hmm.
But anyway, so she coached her and her mother to lie about SA of the little girl, and it always says little girl. It didn't give an age. But little girl to me means like a little girl. It didn't say teen, it said little girl. But anyway, the essay of the little girl by her stepfather, Robert Kerr, another one I'm still looking up. Again, this is going to be another live. This is why these are turning into extended, series thing. He's also a Scientologist. Okay. Now, the president of the Citizens Commission on Human Rights told the little girl to deny the abuse happened because otherwise she would be taken away from her parents and she would never see her family again. Don't you want to go punch her in the face?
Which, for anybody that knows anything about this stuff, knows that this is a pattern with Scientology.
Yes. This is not one woman.
This is not the first time we've heard this. And this is maddening.
Now, it was quite a scandal that the president of this, was arrested. But evidently not too bad of a scandal, because 3 years after that incident, so we know where, at least I'm wanting to try to find when this other thing happened, because I'm trying to find out when she got arrested and what happened, and I'm digging. But anyway, so 3 years after they found out that she had, told this little girl that back in the 80s, but they didn't find out about it till not that long ago. But anyways, so 3 years after they found that out, Eastgate was awarded the cult's highest honor, its Freedom Award. Travolta got it in 91 and Cruise got it in 95. You know how they make all the jokes about Tom Cruise with his big plate award that he got around his neck? It hangs around his neck, but it looks like a plate because it's so big.
Yeah, it's so huge.
She got it too. And I'm not done. She is also known for telling a stunned John Sweeney of the BBC that psychiatry caused the Holocaust.
Just let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
How ridiculous that is. Oh, God.
So now we're going to drop down to the leadership of it. These are just leaders in it. Okay. So we have, honestly, there wasn't as much with these. It was all the big shots that really had all the fun stuff.
Hmm.
But I'm looking still, so I may end up finding more if so.
Susie,
But anyways,
before you start rattling those off, I had a quick question.
okay.
You might have mentioned this when I was having my technical difficulties earlier, but do you know where this international headquarters is?
It's there in LA as far as I could tell.
Oh,
It's
it's
in
here in the United States. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go
No,
ahead.
that's fine. So anyway, so Fran Andrews, yeah, I'm just making sure. She's the executive director, okay? She's a longtime Scientologist, a huge, huge, very vocal David Miscavige, supporter. She talks about how he never seeks adoration, he never takes credit for anything. He's just the kindest, most generous man, and that he's always so inclusive. I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, he's inclusive with who he beats the hell out of and treats like shit. He's pretty inclusive. Because you might be a little peon over here, or you might be Mike Rinder. And he treats them the same way. So anyway, now her husband, his name is Russell Andrews. He is big time OSA. And in fact, Mike Rinder talked about him in his book and afterwards, actually, about quote unquote Russ as one of the Church of Scientologists' top OSA. And he did their absolute most covert operations. And he is the go-to guy if you need a phone tapped, or if you need to get somebody's financial records or run the plates on somebody, all that nice stuff that all the churches do, right? Because I'm sure that your local Catholic church and your local Baptist church and Lutheran, they're all doing that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They said how he does this is that he makes friends that work in the banks and the phone companies and, all that kind of thing. And then he says, hey, you want to make a few bucks? So he pays people to get him the information he wants. Sounds like a really good couple. So the next one is Marla Philaday or Philaday? I don't know. Anyway, she is the deputy executive director. She's a Scientologist, and she is deeply connected to RFK Jr. She's really embedded in the whole movement to say that psychiatry caused the school shootings and that they were on psychiatric drugs and all that, and which is not at all even factually supported. She doesn't have any evidence of that. She just says it. And she is a lot of where he's getting all of his information about, ADHD and all that stuff. He's got lots of opinions. And that's where he's getting them, is from this woman that is the deputy executive director of a nonprofit organization that is nothing but Scientology. It's a front for Scientology. So next is Serenity McDonald. She's the deputy executive director for admissions. And there's not really much found about her. I think she's kind of a baby Scientologist. I couldn't find how long she had been in it. There are some records that show that she has taken some services and that she does do auditing and stuff, but I couldn't find really any information about anything. So, Okay, the next one is again Jan Eastgate. We already talked about Madam President. So, and then Holly Mathis is the Director of Human Resources. And she is a Scientologist. Every one of them. Ding, ding, ding. I haven't found one that's not. She's a Scientologist. And this one was weird. she's deeply connected to some sort of, it's new, or not very old anyway, but it's a Scientology ran yoga group retreat kind of thing. They're trying to get into that whole thing, which, okay. But anyway, it's really accused of just being about religious conversion to Scientology, of course. And she's like big in that. She's, all over it. So I found that really, really interesting. And let's see here. Amber Rauscher. I don't know how they say it. But anyway, I I cannot verify that she is a Scientologist. But she's a Scientologist, y'all.
Mhm.
I just can't verify it. She's big into whistleblowing mental facility abuse. And so I thought, well, yay for her. She's blowing whistles on. I mean, I don't want mental facilities abusing patients. So I thought, well, yay.
No,
A
of
little
course
bit
not.
of, maybe she's not a Scientologist. Maybe she's, got a little bit of a common sense and a, you know, brain. I don't know. But yeah, I still
Okay.
have questions about her because most of the work that she has done blowing whistles about these mental facilities abuse involves abuse that was done 50 years ago.
Mm.
Again, we've had a lot of progress. I'm not saying ignore it. That's fine. Look into it. But the way that they go about it is she looks into this stuff, sees these abuses, they put it up on the wall in such a way that makes it look like that's happening now.
Right.
And so I, she's got to be a Scientologist. I don't know. I could not find it, but I think
Mm.
she probably is. If not, she's doing their bidding.
Right.
Now we have the last one is Carla Moxon. Now get this, with all the crazy that we've already seen,
Mhm.
she's called the crazy Scientologist.
What do you have to do to earn that moniker?
I know, right?
Wow.
I was like, what the hell
Mm.
has she done? Right?
Yeah.
Well, one thing, and I'm sure that there's much more to it than meets the eye, but one thing that she does is that she goes around saying that she has saved the world with just her mind. So, yeah, a lot of people are, probably going to call somebody crazy that goes around saying, I've saved the world with my mind. I was
Right.
just wondering if Tom Cruise knows about that because, he is the savior of all things, and he's probably going
Uh,
to be a little jelly if somebody else is running around doing it. So, I don't know. By the way, though, another little tidbit, Carla Moxon is married to Kendrick Moxon, the famous Scientology lawyer.
I knew that last name from somewhere.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she's a high-ranking Scientologist executive, and together, can you imagine? I mean, she's high-ranking, she's all this, and he's a lawyer. They're
Mm-hmm.
top lawyer together. They are a huge Church of Scientology, power company
Like a
or
power couple,
couple.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, since she's married to him, and I followed some of the other guy or that other girl's husband, I went ahead and checked on Kendrick too, and he's alive or two all on his own. But anyway, Kendrick, for a while anyway, Mark Kendrick held the title of Reverend. So you know how they have to have like reverends because they're a church. So anyway, he held the title of Reverend, which I didn't know. He also worked in the Guardian's office before it became OSA, or the Office of Special Affairs, which is just their bullies and bad guys. Because all churches need a whole Office of Special Affairs to handle all the beatings and the spying on members and creating false information and websites about people and all that. So anyway, I was laughing because I actually said I was like thinking that all of this information, that this took my all this information I'm doing tonight took my little series on this front group, and I was like being Aaron for a minute, and I was like a whole other level, because he says that all the time. I've also been going around saying that I smurfed their ass because he's been saying that about that guy. But yeah. But anyway, so last week's Scientology Live led to this week's Scientology Live, and then today's Scientology Live has led to at least another 9. So I know for the next 9 weeks, I will probably be talking about Scientology a lot on Thursday or, sometime. I try not to do a live on Friday because of the protest in Clearwater. But if I do, I'll have to go later. So depending on what we've all, what other stuff we've got. But yeah, can you just imagine that this is it's a front group. They are hiding in plain sight, and they've got all these people lined up. I mean, lawyers and people that, that spread lies, and I don't know, somebody that is the president of an organization that is supposed to be the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, and yet she bullied a child into saying that she was not SA'd by telling her that if she told that she would never see her parents or her family at all again, ever in her life. It just absolutely disgusts me. So I don't know. I do want to check in and see the comments that we have starred, and then I'm going to go back and see like who came in that I haven't seen, because I know there's quite a few people, but anyway, I do want to check some of that. So the Journey 2020 says Scientology titles organizations close to government organizations. Yep. Looking up CCHR in Google Maps gets muddied up with, government-run nonprofits. You're absolutely right, Journey. You are right. It really does, and there's a lot of those. We're going to go over the next few weeks that do that. They do things to make themselves either look like a government, organization, or like something that wouldn't have anything to do with Scientology and that everybody would be for. And they do that so that they can they can infiltrate schools, they can infiltrate hospitals, they can infiltrate prisons. And we're going to talk about all of it, because it just, oh my God, the more I read, the more, Mark was like, turn off your iPad, turn off your iPad. And that was like at 4:00 every morning between 3:30 and 4. He's like, turn off the iPad, go to sleep. He said, you're going to sleep through your live if you don't turn it off. Yeah, Journey says the Scientology hates the Baker Act. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Quiet Peaceful Dance says, these people make me sick. Oh, me too. Me too. Oh my gosh. And Blake Rooked 4724 says, my religion is a nonprofit religion, but I think Scientology is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Really, honestly, all religions are like a nonprofit religion. That's just how they're ran. And so I absolutely, I don't doubt you a bit. But Scientology is, it's just, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. They are not a religion. If they were, if they even had stuff that was like their religion, but I just was like, okay, whatever, then I would just be like, okay, whatever, and just ignore it.
Right.
But because I don't have to agree with somebody's religion for it to be, I can't get that to quit being on there. But anyway, I don't have to agree with it. But this is dangerous.
It
You know,
really is.
Scientology is dangerous.
It is.
And they want to talk about medicine for ADHD being dangerous and is going to cause somebody to unalive themselves or unalive other people or all this stuff. It is absolutely, or just taking it, you know, for a long period of time will just make you die. I mean, what? You know, it is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely, it's insanity.
It really is. Hey, Suze, real quick, I just wanted to let you know. I know we mentioned it at the top, but we are doing a birthday celebration for our dear friend Keela over on Mental Health Matters, and there was a little miscommunication. We crossed our wires, so she's going to be going live just in a couple minutes here. So,
Oh,
if
okay.
anybody, once we wrap up here, anybody wants to head over to Mental Health Matters and help us celebrate Keela's
Absolutely.
birthday, we'll be doing that over
Absolutely.
there too.
Do a room raid. We'll just go. And
Yeah.
if you need to go to get over there, you just hop on over there. Absolutely. Because
You're
I'm just
okay?
gonna, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna read off some more people that are here and be done. Then I'll
All
come
right.
watch it too.
All right. Thanks
All
for
right.
being here, everybody. And
Yeah, thank you.
I'm really looking forward to doing some follow-ups on this, Susie, because this is really
Yeah,
burning my butt.
it is me too.
Because we're seeing
It
the same patterns just repeating
constantly. And I know
themselves.
it's gonna be the same with every
Yeah.
one of these front groups. It's gonna be exactly the same kind of thing. A lot of it's probably got the same people running it.
Yeah. If you
So,
notice that, you already are seeing the same names over and over and over again. So, yeah.
absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right, guys. Well, we'll see you over there.
All right, I'll be over in a little bit.
And I'm gonna pop off. Okay.
All
Thanks.
right. All right. So, Totally Jersey says hi. I actually got to catch a live. I will likely have to pop off because of severe storms. Oh no, that's not good. That is not good. Yeah, Jersey Jan told her to be safe. The Journey says, oh yeah, I already read that one. Sorry. Um, John says we're getting pretty bad storms here too in Detroit at the moment. Probably heading your way too. I'm afraid, Jersey ladies. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Yeah. Some of them I see you're just talking to each other. I'm not gonna bother with those. I don't wanna I'm not trying to get in your business. Yeah, if you have a question, always, guys, if you ever have a question or a comment, always, always, always put it in the chat or come on after the live and put it in the comments after live. I try to answer everything. Hey, Poet, good to see you. Good to see you. Absolutely. Just trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. Hey, Just Hales Creations, good to see you. So, yeah, Indigo was on yesterday, actually. So that's a really good one too. If you didn't see last night's live, go check that one out. It's in our Witchy Wednesday thing that we've got going. So absolutely. Christy is going to be back on next Wednesday, and we're doing kind of a deep dive into some stuff this time. Not just kind of scraping the top. We're gonna deep dive, y'all. So make sure to be watching for that. It should be the same, 6:30 Central next Wednesday. So, and then I've got other people coming on too. So I'm really excited. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and go. I don't know what my daughter and son-in-law were doing here, but if you heard them and Mark talking, they forget that I'm on. I'm sitting right here, but they forget that I'm on live. I don't know why they think I'm talking. Like, do I just sit around and talk to myself? No. But anyway, thank you all for coming. And if you're new here, please check back. We talk about a lot of stuff. Oh, Blake is from Wales. I didn't see that until just now. Yeah. I'm glad you're here. We have other people from from England, Wales, the whole bit, Scotland, Ireland, all over the place. So please, please come back and see us. We do talk about a lot of different stuff. I say that we're kind of like like a variety show, like how they used to have variety shows back in the 70s and they just, talk about a little bit of everything. That's kind of what we are, like David Letterman, that kind of thing where they have different guests on. We do that too sometimes. So anyway, I was thinking about having like having a night where I had like 3 guests that had absolutely nothing to do with each other, and like talking to each guest about what they were there for and then letting them bounce off of each other. I thought that would be interesting. It's kind of a something I kind of thought about. So anyway, I'm gonna be trying to plan that for some time. Anyway, maybe a Saturday though. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love each and every one of you and can't wait to see you uh probably what is today? Wednesday, tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow.
Hope you enjoyed the show, so glad you were here. We meet here most days, we're but first coffee and you're welcome here. We talk about hard subjects, but we also laugh a lot. If you have a loss or win, we will cheer for you. We're but first coffee and you are safe here. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't wanna miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't wanna miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set